There we are. How you doing? How you doing? Late night stream here, at least late night for me. 10 p.m., that's when it's like, oh, nope, too late. Too late, we go to sleep. The old man starts kicking in rather quick. But I got to go out to the cinema this evening. I wasn't planning on it. I wasn't planning on going to see this movie. But yet, at like 2 o'clock, I said, like, oh, wait a minute, maybe I might go check out 28 years later, and we'll talk about kind of my history with that film and everything, or the film series and whatnot. And we'll get into some other stuff as well. So thanks so much for stopping by and liking and subscribing, all that kind of good stuff. We really appreciate that. And, we're just a small little tiny channel here, man. We're just getting along, and no matter what you do, how much you help support this channel, even if it's just, stopping by for a moment, hitting the like button there, commenting, doing any of that stuff, we really appreciate it. Thank you guys for all that kind of good stuff. And just, joining in. Leave something in the chat here, of course, since we have such a light room and everything. You're likely to get your chat placed on the screen here. So go start yapping something. And if you like it, why don't you give a super chat there, aka Portress Bucks, because I am starving. I've been doing substitute school teaching, and of course it is summer. Summer is out now, and that one popcorn video just ain't paying all the bills, damn it. So do me the biggest of favors, man. Just like and subscribe, do all that kind of good stuff. Thank you so much. Like I said, let's talk about some of the things that we're going to be going over tonight, because it's been one of those days, and I was thinking about doing this tomorrow, but since I went out and saw 28 years later, I'm going to keep doing that. I'll tell you that right away. But we're going to be covering a couple things here. There's a video game movie coming out that I don't think a lot of people had an eyeball on. The Chinese are going full on AI, man, and they're restoring, quote unquote, or reimagining or something. We'll get into it. Hong Kong classics, and it is going to be a mess, I think. And guess what, everybody? Rumor mill has it that Tom Cruise himself is being eyeballed for an honorary Oscar. And I think this is a big, giant problem. I don't think Tom Cruise should get an honorary Oscar, at least not in this upcoming Academy Awards. And we'll talk about all that kind of good stuff and why that's important. And I don't know if we'll do anything else, but I'll certainly then get into the 28 years later review here and everything. I got to say, just to give a little preface here and everything, I was surprised. I was surprised. I was going in not knowing a lot, not thinking a lot about it and everything. But man, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. But let's get to our first story here and everything. Let me ask you, who are the where are all my Gen Xers at, man? Because guess what? Dragon's Lair, James Boland, in talks to direct new video game adaptation for Ryan Reynolds for Netflix. I can't say I saw this one coming. You guys remember a Dragon's Lair and everything like that? I couldn't play it. Well, number one, it was always expensive, right? And it, to me, at least as like an elder millennial and everything, 82, when I saw Dragon's Lair, number one, it was already a little bit old. Number two, it was expensive, man. It was expensive to do it. And I would just look at it, and that was just like, am I just watching a cartoon? Is that what's going on here? I was not in favor of going through and playing this game, but I heard so many Gen Xers very specifically talk about how they absolutely live Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair is so great, everybody. I mean, I hope, maybe. But I've seen the little cutscenes and everything like that. But to me, it never really felt like you were playing a video game. And I know they re-released it, and somebody redid it or something not too awful long ago. Was that any good? I don't remember. But let's read on here. We get Ryan Reynolds to thank for this. The game was at one point in the early 1980s the most popular arcade game in America. Dragon's Lair. Who remembers this thing? It just, I don't know. It always just felt like your regular point and click adventure and stuff like that. And again, for what you ended up paying at the machine and everything, not so for me, man. Let's read on. The director of Disney's The Muppets and The Muppets Most Wanted in talks to tackle Dragon's Lair, Netflix's adaptation of one of the most iconic arcade games from the early 1980s. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed Ryan Reynolds is attached to star as well as produce the feature, which was first set up in 2020. Also producing are Roy Lee. Is it Roy? Yeah, Roy Lee. Via his Virgo Entertainment, and Trevor Ingleson of Underground, Don Bluth, Gary Goldman, and John. Listen, I'm going to get your fancy Hollywood names one day. Don't you worry. They're also producing. A lot of producers for this. Dragon's Lair was at one point the most popular game in America. It hit the scene in 1983. See, I was one, so you can forgive a guy for not showing up at the arcade when he was all of 1 year old. And it had promised to revolutionize the arcade industry with its movie-style animation that hailed from Bluth, who would later go on to direct the animated movies An American Tail, which I loved, and All Dogs Go to Heaven, which I absolutely loved. Man, if you want to get me a crying, man, put in a little All Dogs Go to Heaven. That was another thing with, no spoiler here for 28 years, but just like, man, when you're thinking about death, you start going through all of your family members, you start going through your pets, and then All Dogs Go to Heaven comes up, and you're like, oh my God, yeah, my dog might die one day. No, he will die one day, and he'll die before me. God willing. I listen, I love my dog, but I want him to live as long as he possibly can. But he got to go before me. That's the rules. Anyway, and it's envelope pushing technology that used Laserdisc to advance the story. Sadly, the tech, see, I told you it was point and click adventure. Sadly, the tech and animated style didn't take off beyond a certain time period, although it remains fondly remembered by a certain generation, Gen X. It even made an appearance in the 80s set Netflix series Stranger Things. Because what is Stranger Things if not just a giant set of member berries for you to swing around, everybody? The game's plot centers on a knight named Derrick the Daring, who must rescue the fetching Princess Daphne from the clutches of the evil dragon known as Sung. Was he fighting Iron Man, right? And the wizard Mordrock. The tone seems like a good fit for Bobbin, who balanced comedy, puppetry, music, and heart with the 2011 reboot of The Muppets after breaking the box office comedy series The Flight of the Conchords. I gotta say, what was his name from How I Met Your Mother that did the Muppets movie? That was fantastic, man. That was a really, really good movie. And I think when I cried during it, my wife at the time was just like, what's wrong with you? I was just like, I probably should have realized something was up. What I need to watch 28 days later before 28 years later, I'm going to say no on that. Surprisingly so. You don't necessarily need to see any of them. Frankly, I think they're all standalone movies, really. If memory serves, and it's been a long time since I've seen those other two, and we'll talk about that when we get to the review and everything, but no, you certainly don't have to. I do the okay, yeah. So we were talking about what did we call it there? Yeah, the Muppet movie. The Muppet movie was fantastic, dude. It was awesome. He directed 2019's adventure movie Dora the Lost City of Gold. Which, let me tell you something here right now, kids. I'm gonna tell you this: if you ain't seen that Dora the Lost City of Gold, do yourself a favor. I know what you're thinking. You're going, Adam, that's a Dora the Explorer movie. Why in God's green earth would I ever go see a Dora the Explorer movie? Let me tell you something, my friends. That movie's pretty damn good. That movie is pretty good, man. She just sits there like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a stoner in me, but she was just like, that whole movie was hilarious. You got, what's his nuts there? Why is my brain taking a nap? The guy from... Wow. I'm gonna move on lest I look even more silly on the air here. He directed that. He also, let's see, with episodes of Disney's The Mysterious Benedict Steps and Anywho, yeah, man. So here's the deal: Dragon's Lair is coming out. Ryan Reynolds is going to be in it. Here's what's going to happen when that happens. Right? Is Ryan Reynolds is going to come in, and let me ask you a question, chat. Who do you think Ryan Reynolds is going to play in this? And don't say the lead. Don't say the lead, because obviously he's going to play the lead of the movie. But as far as his acting ability and everything goes, who will Ryan Reynolds be playing? Or at least might I ask, what are the odds that the guy who's going to be acting on screen is going to be Ryan Reynolds? It's just Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds has only been playing Ryan Reynolds, and that's fine. That's fine for what it is, and maybe that's what, this is kind of calling for and everything, but I don't know. The guy that directed, though, I will say, Bobbin coming in, that guy, he makes a lot of fun stuff and everything, and I feel like if they come at it with that kind of reverence but slight irreverence that he did with the Dora Explorer movie and everything, I think if he comes in at that angle and everything, he's going to be a-okay with that. So yeah, man, that's Dragon's Lair. Let's see what else we got here for you, man. I don't know what you guys have you guys been messing with any AI and stuff lately? I'm starting to see it everywhere. I don't think AI is real, so to speak. I don't think any of it really counts as far as what one might consider to be artificial intelligence. I think it's a lot of like if this, then that kind of thing going in. And it's only, able to do the things that you program it to do, obviously. It supposedly can learn, but I think that's BS. I don't think these things are learning at all. But they can take existing things and rework them and kind of reshape them and mold them into, I don't know, what they would call a new form of art, but what some might call the bastardization of art. But hey, man, if somebody's got to be digging into it. So let's check out this next story here from the Hollywood Reporter. Chinese studios plan an AI-powered remakes of kung fu classics from Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li. The government-endorsed initiative revealed that the Shanghai Film Festival will involve 100 martial arts classics undergoing AI revitalization. That is that's a very interesting word to use, revitalization. You'll see why. It's a little bit insane, this story. But at the same time, I really think that there is a more than good chance that we're going to start seeing things like this happen all the time. Hollywood studios and craftspeople may be busy agonizing over the proper role of AI's potential within the film industry, but Chinese studios aren't slowing down. Surprise, surprise. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and Jet Li, and a legion of all-time greats of martial arts cinema are about to get an AI makeover. In a sign of the times announcement at the Shanghai International Film Festival on Thursday, a collection of Chinese studios revealed that they are turning to AI to reimagine around 100 classics of the genre. Who is excited to see reimaginings of kung fu classics in AI? And if so, why? I cannot tell you why anyone would want to do this. Let's read on. Lee's classic Fist of Fury, 1972. Chan's breakthrough Drunken Master, 1978. And to Sue Harks, I'm always going to do that wrong, guys, directed epic Once Upon a Time in China, 1991, which turned Lee into a bona fide movie star, are among the features poised for the treatment as part of the Kung Fu Movie Heritage Project 100 Classics AI Revitalization Project. That is a mouthful and a half, brother. Y'all got to start throwing down some kind of acronym or something. That's too much. This is interesting because I'm not sure exactly where all the kind of rights and stuff are going with a lot of these movies. With these specific movies that they are tagging in this article and everything, it makes me wonder if Shout Factory, because I think Shout Factory now owns these movies and many of these more. When they put these kind of movies together in this little list here and everything, that tells me more than likely that they got the what is the name of that damn company? Golden, is it gold? Not Golden. It wasn't Golden Harvest. Damn it, I forget. It's one of the companies that owns a lot of these. I made a video about it. Go check the archives for it and everything. But they bought this giant catalog and everything, and within that catalog was a lot of these amazing classics and stuff. And we're starting to hear about them actually starting to come out on streaming services. I know Better Luck Tomorrow is about to come out in HD streaming and everything. And we've been told that 4Ks and stuff should be on the way. And frankly, I hope that is where we are going, because I need to see some of these amazing Hong Kong classics in 4K again, including all your like Hard Boiled and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, all of these movies as well. Yeah, man. So if they're just going to take these movies and put them in, let's keep reading here. There will also be digital reworking of John Woo classic A Better Luck Tomorrow, that by the looks of the trailer turns the money-burning anti-hero originally played by Chow Yun-fat into a cyberpunk, oh, here we go, and is being claimed as the world's first full process AI produced animated feature film. What the hell does that even mean? I mean, there's a lot of misnomers as to like what AI is and what it does. How much did they put in? You know what I'm saying? Did they just go like, here's this movie, change these parameters, spit out an animated version of that film? Is that how that works? The big guns of the Chinese industry were out in force on the sidelines of the 27th Shanghai International Film Festival to make the announcements too. They were led by, here we go, fun Chinese names I'm going to screw up, Zhang Pinnin, chairman of the China Film Foundation, who said AI work on these aesthetic historical treasures, which is hilarious because now we're taking those aesthetic historical treasures and spitting on them, would give an all-new look that conforms to contemporary film viewing. Okay. Here's what it is, man. We have this already. It's called remaking films. Look at the 70s. Everybody stole from everybody. The Americans stole from the Japanese. The Japanese stole from the Italians. The Italians stole from everybody. Let's keep going on. But why, but you know, okay. I'm sorry. I'm just going to get, it's like, I feel like another 20-minute rant coming in there, and I'm not going to do it. For your sake. We got a whole nother show to go here. It's not only a film heritage, but also a brave exploration of the innovative development of film art, Zhang said. Tian Ming, chairman of the project partner Shanghai Connexing. What the hell is this word? I don't. Oh shit! Now we're highlighting everything. That's why you don't do that. Blah blah blah. Anyways, we sincerely invite the world's top AI animated companies to jointly start a film revolution that subverts tradition. Oh, that's always a thing. Subvert tradition, spit in the face of it, put it into a computer, and let it spit out garbage. Yay! Said who would announced the 100 million, blah 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 blah. They're going to be kickstarting a whole work. What does that say to you guys though? They're going to take just AI slop and just say, okay, here's what I want. I want Drunken Master, but instead of Jackie Chan, I want it to be. See, this is why I'm not in the entertainment business. I can't even think of somebody just lame ass to put into it, man. John Kerry. You remember John Kerry? Watermelon Head? Put John Kerry in the role of Jackie Chan and then put it in medieval times. Is that what we're doing here? Because that's what it sounds like. I think it's an absolutely ridiculous idea. Advances in AI have been the topic of discussion at the largest film festival preceding the opening night of the video montage that splice imagery generated via technology into scenes from cinema classics such as Aubrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck's Roman Holiday. Because ain't that what you want to see? You're just watching Roman Holiday and god damn it, it gets real boring, don't it? So what you want to do is you want to throw in a little bit of AI in there, man. Put yourself a little bit of a little Johnny Mnemonic on there, and then boom, Bob's your uncle, boy. That's going straight to the moon. Ridiculous. Why don't we, I don't know, this seems like a silly idea here. Why don't we just like re-release these movies in theaters so people could actually watch them? Perhaps they might actually like these kung fu films and these martial arts films from back in the day. Come on. All right, I'm done with this article, I think, because it just kind of says the same big old thing here. Blah, blah, blah. It's shown the incident. There's possibilities, the endless possibilities galore, the possibilities for us to give you utter slop. Please take our utter slop and just gobble it up like nobody's business. Don't watch the movies that we paid a whole bunch of money for. We just threw them into the Cuisinart of crap and just decided that, maybe you'll like it. I don't know. It didn't cost us nothing, so who cares? Up next, we are going to be talking about the craziest man in all of Hollywood. Some might call him the most dangerous man in all of Hollywood. Me? I just call him Tom Cruise. Because let me tell you something about old Tommy Cruise here, boys and girls. He was bound to do it already. And yet we are trying to push ahead of time and make it all worth nothing. Let's join us again, our good friends over at The Hollywood Reporter. The Oscars finally fell in love with Tom Cruise, and it's about time. And I know what you're thinking, Adam. You've praised Tom Cruise for years. Giant fan of Tom Cruise, and you know what? You're right. Huge Tom Cruise fan. I think Tom Cruise should have, at this point in time, no less than 2 Oscars. I truly think that. I truly think that Tom Cruise should have no less than 2 Oscars. Now, you can argue as to which films he might get those for, and whether they're a lead role or a supporting role. But I bet you money you all got at least one Tom Cruise movie in your head that you can pull out and be like, I probably could have won an Oscar for that movie. Born on the 4th of July. Fantastic. I don't know. No one can deny that one, right? Simple, easy. I think he should have easily gotten Best Supporting Actor for Magnolia. Unbelievable performance right there. One could argue Vanilla Sky. One could argue. But the man's had a lot of work. And I'm just skirting the surface here, man. Because old Tommy Cruise gives 110%. You can say a lot about him. You can say a lot about the choices that he makes, the movies that he makes, his personality, whatever. But I can tell you this much right here and right now. You ain't outworking that cat. And you know what? Because he's given 110% no matter what he's doing. We all make fun of the Tom Cruise run. But the Tom Cruise run is iconic, man. You know why? Because he's putting 1,001% into it. Because he's not BSing you on it. That's what Tom Cruise does, man. Let's keep on reading. After decades of snubs, the Academy is at long last giving its world's biggest movie star a statue. An honorary one, but still. And I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, why this honorary Oscar is a load of crap. Let's read on. Congratulations are clearly in order after decades long of being overlooked, underestimated, and sometimes just flat out ignored. A Hollywood mainstay is finally getting some richly deserved recognition. Bravo! First of all, that's written like an asshole. Good job, Hollywood Reporter. Seems real snarky. I don't like it already. No, not to Tom Cruise for that honorary Oscar. Oh, look at him. They're just turning the corner on us here. They're just who wrote this? Benjamin Spetsky? Sure. Benjamin, you're on notice right now, bud. No, not to Tom Cruise, because that's how he wrote it. That's how he wrote it, right? He's reading it back to himself and proofreading. You know, he's going, no, not to Tom Cruise for that honorary Oscar, to the Academy for making sure that the world's last remaining movie star will turn up for its next broadcast. First of all, Tom Cruise now is kind of like the Hollywood mascot here and everything. He's not the same kind of mascot that, say, your Jack Nicholson would be at the Oscars and stuff like that, because that was always just like, oh, let's see what Jack is up to and everything. But this isn't that. He's not that guy. But Tom Cruise kind of is Hollywood, and really, frankly, is some of the best in Hollywood in a lot of ways. Save for the time where we were getting, the Scientology breakdown there and everything. He's kind of learned his lesson, I think. He stayed out of stuff for the most part. He's just kind of been more of a, fairly neutral guy. You don't hear him talking about, politics or anything else like that. You heard him screaming at some people in the last Mission Impossible movie for not, taking protocols seriously and stuff like that. I suppose I get that. But, he seems to just kind of like just be that guy. And every person that I know who's met Tom Cruise, and I know a couple, every single one of them is just like, he's exactly the person you want him to be. He makes dreams come true, that guy. Let's face it, at this point, the Oscars need Cruise more than Cruise needs an Oscar. And that's fairly true. Particularly, that's a fun word to say. An honorary one, which frequently goes to stars more mature vintage. Mel Brooks got one last year at the age of 97. By the way, Chad, what do you guys think about the new Spaceballs movie? I love Mel Brooks. I read Mel Brooks's book. Do yourself a favor if you have not and read it. It is fantastic. And it will be a sad day when he is gone. But the only reason that I have trepidation about a new Spaceballs movie, and I would love to see Mel go out with one more honest to God banger. That would make me so damn happy. That said, Josh Gad's involved. Anybody excited about Josh Gad being involved in a Spaceballs movie? Bueller? No one's excited for that. Surprise. Absolutely awful. So like that's a little side tangent here, but man, Josh Gad's awful. Let's face it, blah, 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 blah. In recent times, the show's numbers, to say nothing of its cultural relevance, have been on the same spiraling trajectory that biplane crews dangled from in the latest Mission Impossible movie. Viewership has fallen some 66% since the Oscars peak in 1998, the Titanic year, with only about 20 million tuning in these days. Could you give me the opposite of what we're talking about here? Just give me the numbers proper instead of me going like, okay, 66 since this, it was this since this. Now I got to do math. Screw you, Hollywood Reporter. Blah, 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 blah. Turning these days about the same size audience that turns out for a run-of-the-mill midseason NFL football game. Wow. Meanwhile, Cruise at 62, holy smokes, continues to draw arena-sized crowds to his tent poles. The most recent Mission Impossible movie, The Final Reckoning, grossed $500 million worldwide last month, while Dead Reckoning Part 1 grossed $550 million in 2023. And then there's 2022's Top Gun Maverick, a film that which proved the pandemic hadn't entirely crushed the theatrical business. It grossed a stratospheric $1.5 billion, Cruise's personal best. And there's a damn good reason. Those movies kick ass. And you know what those movies are? They aren't just, Hollywood pieces of garbage. They're Hollywood gems of what Hollywood kind of used to produce. It's just these movies that are just like, hey, man, we're going to have some fun. We're going to have fun. Those movies are fun-ass movies. Even though the last Mission Impossible movie wasn't the best thing in the world, it was all right. But it wasn't like, oh my God, what an absolute and utter piece of garbage. It was fun. Calvin says, man, the part where Spike's mom was going to be, we're talking, we'll talk about that one later. We're getting there. We're yapping about Cruz now. I'll bring that up later on. The dramatic flip here is almost a jaw-dropping one as Ethan Hunt's mask-pulling reversals. For decades, the Academy seemed to keep Cruz at a vaguely disdainful distance. Oh, my God. What an asshole writer. Dismissing a dismissal distance. He thinks he's clever. That's the thing that I don't like. It's just like, just write the fucking news. He's writing fucking Hemingway over here. Sure, they'll occasionally toss him a polite nomination in 1989 for Born on the 4th of July. Should have won for 1996. Jerry Maguire. He should have been nominated for that one for sure. In 1999 for Magnolia, you already heard me say I think he should have won for that, but never invited him up to the podium to collect a statue. He'd always remain stuck in the audience with the other losers. Jesus. Gamely flashing that famous 500-watt smile for the reaction shot. Honestly, the honorary Oscar announced this week feels like too little, too late. Because over the years, when he wasn't climbing Burj Khalifa or jumping motorcycles off cliffs, Cruz was tuning into some truly nuanced, brave, and definitely Oscar-worthy performances. And we're not just talking about the roles of Academy designed to nominate, at least one of which, by the way, possibly should have won. How Michael Caine's largely unremarkable performance in the Cider House Rules beat Cruz's unforgettable turn as the toxically masculine, respect the cock motivational speaker in Paul Thomas Anderson's underrated 1998 drama Magnolia is a mystery for the ages. Sweet Lord have mercy. What a run-on sentence. And I'm a guy who enjoys a run-on sentence. Good grief. That said, anybody tell me that Michael Caine's performance in the Cider House Rules is anywhere remotely close to Tom Cruise's performance in Magnolia? Tell me. Tell me why. I need a whole video on Michael Caine and my love/hate for Michael Caine. Because I'll tell you one thing. I love him and I hate him at the same time. I think he's one of the best, and that he's one of the worst. There were also Cruz's unnominated but award-worthy performances in Rain Man. Yes, agreed. Honestly, here's the thing, dude. Rain Man 100% falls apart without Tom Cruise. Dustin Hoffman gets the award for doing, questionable work. But man, Tom Cruise is the reason that Rain Man works as well as it does. No doubt. In Interview with a Vampire, opposite Brad Pitt, in the late Stanley Kubrick film Eyes Wide Shut, opposite some actress named Nicole Kidman. I'm telling you, he is a petty gay if I ever seen one this good. I mean, that's fine, but like, oh my Lord, he just writes like it. And I tell you what, some lady named Nicole Kidman. Oh. A reasonable argument could be made that Cruz's fat-suited Diet Coke swilling, profanity-spouting studio exec in Tropic Thunder, the scene-stealing Lex Grossman. It's Les Grossman. I said it incorrect. Was performance worthy of some sort of award. At least the Golden Globes gave him a nod. And let's be honest, that was one of the couple movies I think that we can all agree on that brought Tom Cruise back in the fold for us. It was like, oh, okay. This guy can make fun of himself. This guy can kind of like, he can laugh. He's in on it and stuff like that. He can make himself look ridiculous. Because if Tom Cruise can make himself look ridiculous, you're fine with him. You don't care. As for why it's taken the Oscars so long to pay Cruise his due, one can only speculate. Perhaps it's all the gleaming charisma. He's always been too smooth, too slick, too commercial for the Academy's insular voters. I think that's bullshit. Maybe it was Cruise's unabashed embrace of movie stardom over method self-flagellation. I'm telling you, this guy. Or maybe the Academy just couldn't bring itself to hand a gold statue to someone who once made a movie called Cocktail. All right. Listen, I'm not a fan of Cocktail. Cocktail's like one of the most mid movies ever, but like, why just bring up Cocktail for no real reason? Whatever the reason, speaking of which, the Oscars can no longer afford the luxury of snobbery because at this point, Cruise doesn't need an Oscar to cement his legacy, but the Oscars just might need him to save theirs. Here's my biggest problem with all this, gang. I am happy that we are going to give Tom Cruise an Oscar. My problem is that we should have, we're going to be giving him an Oscar already this year. Breaking news. Tom Cruise is going to win an Oscar for stunts. That's right. This is the first year that the Oscars are putting in a category for stunts. Who you think going to win that? Who else? Who else is going to, I mean, you might as well give him that and a Lifetime Achievement Award, the same thing. And that's what feels stupid, man. And like, he is the guy who I feel like is doing his damnedest to actually save Hollywood and everything. He's working his ass off while the rest of you are producing absolute slop. He's the only one that can come out here and start putting things that puts asses in seats. As much as we all like threw him to the cornfield, in the early 2000s and everything, boy, he's come back with a mighty sword and proven to us that all we want to be is entertained, man. All we want to be is entertained. And Tom Cruise is the guy to do that. And he's gonna win an Oscar. He's gonna win an Oscar early that night. So Tom Cruise is gonna go from having 0 Oscars to 2 Oscars in the exact same night. We're all going to like praise him and everything, but he should have just only gotten that Oscar for stunts because that's what's gonna happen. They're going to nominate for stunts. He will win that one. And then later on in the evening, they're gonna be like, and by the way, here's your honorary Lifetime Achievement Award for taking our asses right out of the gutter. Man, when there's so many still left on the table throughout all those years and you guys just, flipped him the bird and gave Michael Caine an Oscar for Cider House Rules, get bent, dude. But he'll have 2 Oscars, so I guess I'm happy with that. That's a good thing. All right, let's get into the next story here. Let me try to remember. Let me see what's in my next tab area. Yeah. All right, let's get into it because it's getting late. It's getting late. I got at least one comment about it, so we needs to get into it. Give me a moment here. Get the old voice box lubed up because we got a rant to go on. By the way, to everybody out there, I mean, because the number's been kind of going up and down and all over the place and everything. Thank you so much, man. Thank you if you've been hanging out and listening and all that kind of good stuff. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. Leave a comment and all that kind of good stuff. And of course, any super chats, aka Portress Bucks. You definitely want to pop those in there as well. But hey, here's the best part. Since we're a low volume group here and everything, super easy for your chat to get up on screen, eh? And we got one here that we're going to be doing during the full review and whatnot. Let's get the screen together. All right. Alrighty, let's get into our review of 28 Years Later, the new film from Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. Man, oh man, this thing has been in the holding room for some time, I guess. Depending upon how you think about it. So we had, I remember, I'll give you a little quick history of me and the 28 years, or 28, we'll call it the 28 series, which sounds like a new Mazda, the new Mazda 28 series. But the 28 series kind of went like this for me. When the first one came out, I was in film school. And one of the things that people were talking about was this new film called 28 Weeks Later. Is it days later? 28 days later. I'm going to do that one a lot, I'm sure. But the movie's called 28 Days Later. And the big claim to fame for that was they were shooting that on a Canon. Was it an XR1? It's been so many years, but it was a Canon mini DV camera and everything. So this was just a, I don't even know if it was a 720p camera at that time. But just, kind of a regular prosumer mini DV camera. They put some nice glass on it and everything, of course. But that was the big thing, man. It was just like, oh my God, they shot this big giant film, this zombie movie. And then, of course, it's not a zombie movie. It is a zombie movie. Shut up. Who gives a damn? But they shot this movie on mini DV and everything. It was just like, oh my God, look at what they did for like $0. And of course, this was, on the heels of all of your, like, everything from, the independent days of Sex, Lies, and Videotape and all that stuff, where it's just like, oh, we can put together something that's like real cheap and everything. It felt like that. It felt like, real down and dirty filmmaking. It's like somebody could do this. And even like a big time film maker like Danny Boyle could do that. Though he wasn't, he'd obviously get much bigger and stuff as time goes on and everything. But yeah, man. So I saw that movie and I did not care for it. I'm going to be honest with you. 28 Days Later was not the film for me by any stretch of the imagination. For me, it was just like, it was fun from a technical standpoint, where it was like, okay, we've made this cool movie for, next to nothing and everything. But what we had, I don't know, it just felt like it was cool over story to me. And I couldn't kind of tell what was going on and everything. So wasn't a huge fan. When I saw 28 Weeks Later, several years after that, I happened to see it in LA. It was the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, and we were in LA for the Star Wars convention, the Star Wars Celebration 4. Yeah, Star Wars Celebration 4. So we were in LA for that, and it was just like, oh my God, it's literally 40 years to the date when Star Wars came out. We're in LA. Let's go to Grauman's Chinese Theater and watch whatever. I was like, I want to be in the theater that Star Wars premiered in at that time 40 years ago. So a decade ago at this point. So that tells you how long it's been. But I was like, I want to be in that building on this date and everything. So we watched 28 Weeks Later in Grauman's Chinese Theater. There was like no one there. It was a pretty loose night and everything. But for whatever reason, I didn't really care for it. And I got to be honest with you, I was a little bit enthralled with the Chinese theater and whatnot. If you've ever been in there, you know that, like, you can just look at the architecture. You can sit inside the theater itself and just look at the walls. I know that sounds like an insane statement, but you can just look at walls and architecture. It's been a couple years and they've revamped things since I've been there. So they like tore out the orchestra pit and put in like an IMAX screen and stuff like that. So they jacked it up. As far as I'm concerned, it's a different building at this point. And God knows it's owned by like TCL now, I think. But I didn't like it. I didn't like 28 Weeks Later either. So it was just like, I really wrote this series off because I was just like, man, I didn't like 28 Weeks Later. I didn't like 28 Days Later. I didn't like 28 Weeks Later. So I was, my thought process is how much am I going to like 28 Days Later? And I gotta be honest with you guys. I almost hated this movie until the very end. And then it saved it. We're going to get into no spoilers here, just so everybody knows. We're not going to go into any spoilers or anything. I'm going to remain pretty light on stuff because that is how I went into this movie. I knew nothing about it going in. So I'm going to leave it fairly vague and stuff for you guys. But let's check it out here, man. Here is the IMDb plot line for 28 years later. Told you I'm going to keep doing it. As we all know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. A group of survivors of the rage virus live on a small island. When one group leaves the island on a mission into the mainland, he discovers secrets, wonders, and horrors that have mutated not only the infected, but the other survivors. I clearly didn't read this ahead of time. This is directed by Danny Boyle and written by Alex Garland. They are coming back as the pair that they did from the beginning. This is starring Jodie Comer, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and Ray Fiennes. And this little guy right here, is it Roscoe Haynes, who I'm going to sit here and tell you is the MVP of this movie, dude. I was shocked at this kid. So yeah, like I said, I came into this movie not being the biggest of fans of 28 weeks later. So I was not, looking too awful forward to this, but I wanted to do this ultimately for the stream and to be able to have some content and stuff to put out there. And I know that this is a movie that a lot of people have a lot of, feelings towards, or the series rather, that a lot of people have feelings towards. So I thought, why not check this out and see what I think? Maybe I am always open for a movie to change my mind. I don't want to walk into a movie and have some kind of preconceived notion of what I'm seeing and then, have it ruined for me because, I thought it was going to be this thing. And I think that's one of the biggest problems that we have as moviegoers today. When people end up having complaints, is their complaints essentially are, it's not what I wanted it to be. Well, I got some news for you. It's not about what you want it to be. Now, you can judge it on what it is. You can say that you don't like it. That's perfectly fine. But you can't say, well, it wasn't what I wanted it to be. Now, what did I want 28 years later to be? I didn't care. Like I said, I didn't care for the other two movies, so I felt no way or the other. However, when the trailer came on in in all the subsequent movies that I go to and everything, when the trailer came on, I would kind of start closing my eyes because for whatever reason, I was just like, I don't know what it's about, and I don't kind of want to know. I don't know anything about it. But man, oh man, I was really surprised. Now, let me start off with the things that I don't like, because ultimately the things that I don't like are kind of they're apparent. You're either going to love them or you're going to hate them. And I think really dependent upon what your thoughts are on Danny Boyle is how that might shake out. Because me and Danny Boyle, I could take him or leave him. I don't know. Sometimes I'm a big fan. Sometimes I'm like, what is he doing? But ultimately, here's the thing. Danny Boyle has a particular style, and if you know what Danny Boyle is and what his kind of game is and everything, none of this is going to surprise you. But the problem is while watching this movie and seeing Danny Boyle's style, and I'm not sure. Let me see if I can, if IMDb will give me a quick little age check here on Sir Danny Boyle. Of what what I'm tired of is friggin' IMDb getting all like, oh, we don't want to tell you how old people are. Just put their fucking age on there. I mean, like, we gonna find out. We can find out. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not searching now, but like, I'm gonna make you older than you actually are, Danny. Because if you're gonna be disrespectful and keep your age off of YouTube or off of IMDb like that, I'm gonna go ahead and roast you, my guy. Danny Boyle, you are 70 years old, my guy. Why on earth are you still directing films like this? There's so much good stuff here, but the Danny Boyle-ness of it all, if that bugs you in any way, shape, or form, you are going to have a problem with this movie. Because there are editing choices, blocking choices, I don't know how many setups are done in this movie. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It is just like I mean, I hope to God, for the sake of his crew, I hope to God Danny Boyle has 3, 4, or 5 cameras running on scenes. Because there are so many setups in this. It is just like boom, 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 boom. We're jumping here, we're jumping here, we're jumping here, we're jumping here. And there's almost bullet time kind of style things when some raging virus affected people get bitten and everything. It's a bit much. It's a bit much. And I like all the infected, they look very cool. No doubt about that. Very interesting. Makeup effects are awesome. I like that we have kind of different sizes and stuff like that, and then like the really big super fat ones and stuff like that, they just kind of crawl along and stuff like that, whereas the smaller tiny ones can run. And then we introduce, and I don't know that this was in any of the other ones. You guys in the chat can tell me if you know otherwise, but in this one at least, we recognize that there is what they call an alpha. So there's kind of an infected person who's bigger than all the other ones. He's the big one. He's kind of the leader of the pack, if you will. And he has kind of like a war cry, and like he's always looking out. He's always looking over everybody, seeing what's going on and stuff like that. It's almost like The Following, but but he's just like a zombie dude. And everybody's naked. Everybody's naked. I don't know when's the last time you seen this much dong in a picture, but buddy boy, you gonna do it. Whoever's putting this out for television gonna have a time and a half ahead of them putting on some zombie underwear or whatever the hell's going on over there. But the alpha, let me tell you, he's I feel like that's played by Michael Fassbender. That's all I'll say. You've seen Shame, you know what I'm talking about. But the Danny Boyle-ness of it all, the kind of music video-ness to all of it is what I don't like. There's a lot of just kind of like, here's the music. Here's the music video that follows. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like they're just setting this music video up to play and everything because and this is okay. Quick sidebar. I saw this movie in my local theater here and everything, and it was awful as far as presentation goes and everything. The surround sound, the surround left and right, those were nice and loud, how they should be. The front, left, center, and right, super low. The bulb was dim. So a lot of points got lobbed off for presentation in this movie. And so that's what, I'm grading on a curve here because there was so much that went so wrong in this thing that I don't know where to put the blame on Danny Boyle for some of this stuff. But it felt like watching a music video a lot of times. And it was just like, oh, here's this cool thing that I want to do. But that is when they turn around and say, here's this amazing scene between these two characters. And it takes all the stupid stuff in it. Things that, like, I'm telling you, while I was watching this movie, for the majority of the film, I was going, dude, if I was a 13-year-old boy, I would think this was the raddest thing in the world. Because it would be. This felt like a Korn music video. It felt like a Korn music video, and that you were going to eat some Funyuns and you've been drinking some Jolt Cola and you're getting pumped, dude. That's what this movie felt like. Now, some of us have gotten beyond the age of 13, but, there's always a little bit of you that likes mozzarella sticks and ska music, right? I know I sure as hell do. Is 28 years later a good movie? Well, we're talking about that right now. We're trying to figure that out. Yeah, so like I said previously, you don't need to see any of the other ones to see this one. So Aaron Taylor Johnson plays a guy who is bringing his young son out to go off onto the mainland. So this is a an island that is put together by these folks and stuff where they are cordoned off from all of the infected and everything like that. But as a rite of passage, I guess, and they kind of don't really talk too much about it, which is super cool. Uh, but you kind of get to get yourself strapped up with a bow and arrow. And then once the tide is low here and everything, you can walk all the way over to the mainland here and hunt some zombies, essentially. So the kid is like 12 years old. And right away, they're already like, hey, hold on. Isn't this kid supposed to be, normally it's like 15, 16 when we start bringing these in. This kid's like 12 years old. I don't know about all this. He's like, don't worry. My son's ready. He's A-okay with this. It's fine. They go out and they have the kind of adventure that you would sort of think, where they go through and they're encountering, a couple of things. He's having to learn how to shoot and kill zombies. And again, like I said, where we have like the big fat slow zombies and everything, that of course is what he ends up sort of training on. There's one that's just barely able to crawl along because it's like 600-700 pounds worth of half dead whatever, but it can't get at him. So it's really just kind of focusing on the kid and his relationship with his dad and everything. And while I was watching this, I was like, man, this is almost like almost right around that Father's Day time here and everything, man. This could almost be a Father's Day movie. And then it does not become a Father's Day movie. And then it almost becomes a Mother's Day movie in a weird way. But then then at the end of the day, we do kind of learn that this movie is about family. And we'll talk about that at the end, but vaguely, of course. So as you might imagine, the kid has to kind of get used to everything that's going on here. The funny part is they don't really at least get into precisely why they are doing this. I mean, other than to just say like, hey, maybe, at some point you're going to need to go across to get stuff or whatever, but it's essentially just a father and son kind of bonding moment, essentially. But man, there are some great intense chases and stuff like that, and moments where you're kind of screaming at characters and you're just kind of gripping onto your seat because you're like, oh man, I don't know. Like, and there's so many times where I got to be honest with you. I sat there and I was just like, if this is me, I'd just be like, I'm dead. I'm just dead. Just kill me. Just kill me. I'm okay with that. I don't really mind at this point. But the characters go on, man. And I got to say, I really think a lot of that goes to Alex Garland's writing here and everything, which really also, then of course, based upon like, his subsequent movies here with Ex Machina and Civil War and most recently Warfare. I've really gotten a kin and or like the ear and stuff for Alex Garland's work. So I really want to go back and watch those previous 28 movies. In order to kind of rewatch those movies through the lens of Alex Garland and everything, and see if I digest those any different. Because in this movie, I certainly felt a lot of that Alex Garland finger in the typing there and everything, and I thought it was fantastic. And again, 75% of the way through the movie, I was thinking, this is a 3-star, man. 3-star movie. I'm not super wild about it. It's okay, but I'm like, it's got all the Danny Boyle-ness in it and stuff like that. Like for example, you remember 28 or shit? What's the 128 hours? He's got too many movies with numbers in them. 128 hours. The James Franco plays the guy who gets his arm stuck in the crevasse. Is it a crevasse? Is a crevasse too big? He got his arm stuck in a rock. Had to cut it off with a knife. But there was stuff in that movie that like didn't need to be there and was so wildly unnecessary. Like when he goes to drink out of the water bottle and the camera just goes right on down in the straw, the water bottle there and everything. Just absolute Danny Boyle nonsense. This isn't quite as egregious as all that, like as far as like weird camera angles and stuff goes, but there is a lot of that kind of like lack of a better word. That's how it feels. It's just like out, up, down. He's really showing you his dick and how cool it is. But ultimately, it is the heart of the story that really gets you. The zombie stuff and everything. It looks cool. It is interesting. They're infected zombies, whatever. I don't care. It's really they're great. They're top-notch stuff here. But the acting by this kid Friggin' believable, dude. I'm gonna pull up his name again here because I can't remember it off the top of my head. Come here, fella. Yeah. Rocco Haynes. Rocco Haynes is unbelievably good. This kid runs the entire movie as good as Aaron Taylor Johnson is, and he's fantastic in everything he is. But this kid is friggin' tastic. He is so good. He carries this entire thing because it's about him. It's about this journey. It's about life and death and what you do in life, how you continue to push on and to push forward. And I feel like that is a recurring theme that we're seeing in Alex Garland's work is life continues on. Life will continue to go. And more often than not, you're going to want to try to save as many lives as you can to try to keep going, to try to, venture on and brave the wilds, as it were. That's what it feels like a lot of Alex Garland movies are starting to encompass again. Like I said, be it this movie, be it Civil War, Ex Machina and stuff like that, is about kind of that progression and going forward and everything, no matter, the outcome and the cost and stuff like that. And this movie is that. It is, I found it wildly touching. By the end there and again, Ray Fiennes, fantastic performance as always. I don't think anybody has to, worry about that guy when the camera is on. Just point at him and he's fantastic. He plays kind of like an interesting, almost sort of sage character and everything, who's just kind of letting everybody really know. And like, he's kind of the delivery method of the movie, kind of message and tone and everything like that. And maybe that's why it took to the end to kind of get there and whatnot. It's about this kid's relationship with his father and then his relationship with his mother who's dying and trying to find a cure for her. And, in this time of, infected and viral and everything, how long do you hold on to people and stuff like that? It's really great. It's really great, and the end of it, I got to be honest with you, shock of shocks, man. I was rolling tears at a 28 years, weeks, days, months, and time seconds later movie. I was rolling them, man, rolling some tears for this sucker, and I gotta say, surprised, because I was ready to walk out of this sucker going like, it gets like a 3 stars, but man, that last 20 minutes, that last 20, 30 minutes, I don't want to say redeemed everything, but it really put everything into focus, made me appreciate the earlier points of the film and stuff like that. However, it's still not going to get me over the Danny Boyle-ness of it all. But that said, the Danny Boyle-ness of it all and everything will get me to buy this sucker when it comes out on 4K and everything, because I'm telling you, I'm listening and I'm just like, if this theater wasn't friggin' broken, I would really, really, really be enjoying this. But it wasn't, so I didn't. But I'm not gonna take a star off for that. We're giving credit where credit is due. I can't blame the cinema for this one. This is that's on them. I'm not blaming Danny Boyle and friends for that one. So with 28 years later, we're gonna go 4 out of 5 stars on this bad boy. Very, very surprising. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't want to go into that, but yeah, man, it was quite surprising how well. I was just surprised at how much I enjoyed this thing. Again, given how much I disliked the first 2 movies and everything, this one to come by so many years later and everything, I thought it was just going to be giant disappointmentville here and everything. Color me surprised. Really, really enjoyed it. So again, that is it, everybody. Thank you so much for kind of stopping by and hanging out and everything, commenting, liking, subscribing, and all that kind of good stuff. We'll be doing more of these live streams as goes on. And of course, our big live stream for the podcast comes on Sunday evenings. We really need to nail down a regular time for that. So let us know in the comments what time you would like to see, or what time you'd be available on Sunday afternoon / evenings, East Coast time. And we need to, kind of put a more regular tone on that and everything. But check us out for that. We're doing the 80s movies of Eddie Murphy this month on HMP. And with that, this week we just did Trading Places. And next week we're going to be covering The Golden Child. So check all that out. Follow us out on that. All the social medias and stuff like that. And again, I want to thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, and just listening to this show at any time for any reason. If you support us over at Patreon, that's patreon.com/HMP. Pre-show, post-show, Dinger Zone. Hopefully we'll try to get all that kind of good stuff figured out. Maybe put things over in the YouTube. I don't know, man. We're learning. We're trying out some new stuff. And again, we want to thank you guys for all of your support and all that kind of good stuff. What are we doing tomorrow? I don't know. Are you doing something tomorrow? We'll find out and everything. So that is it, everybody. Go watch some movies, you dirty babies.